After receiving a huge amount of criticism for the Chronexia and the 8 Seals pilot episode, Misty posted a comment that I'd like to address. He responded by saying, "It's unfair to see people criticizing the story so harshly when it was purposely meant to be vague. It's like watching the first episode of Steins Gate and saying it's crap cause you don't get it yet. I want to make it clear that this isn't an attack on Misty or anything. I respect his passion, and honestly, I think he's a nice guy. I make films and do animation as well, so I understand the level of defensiveness he has. I've made shitty films in the past, and it's only through criticism and practice that you get better." Now, let's compare the two stories. Steins Gate, yes, was vague, but in the first episode you had memorable characters, especially the main protagonist, Okabe Rintaro, who's an eccentric scientist that believes there's a shadow organization out to get him. From the many little interactions the characters have, we can get a sense of who these people are and their personalities. Plus, there's an air of mystery that lingers throughout the episode, aided by the cinematography and art style, leading to that "oh shit" moment. There's many little details that are confusing to the viewer, but it helps set the mood for the rest of the show and encourages the viewer to follow alongside the main character as he discovers what happens. If we were fed all the information like what and how this event happened right off the bat, it would have made all of Okabe's discoveries and epiphanies down the road feel pointless. So it makes sense that they would purposefully obfuscate that information. Chronexia's pilot episode, on the other hand, starts out with almost 2 minutes of exposition that goes right into a lengthy fight scene with awkward dialogue trying to explain the mechanics of the world. Some of the good guys get hurt and die, but it's hard for me to feel anything at this point. There's no connection, I don't know anything about them. They're just pixels on the screen at this point. After the fight ends, we then jump to 25 years later, leaving me to wonder what was the point of the first chunk of the episode. The effects of the battle are not implied at all. Maybe the consequences of that fateful day will rear its ugly head down the line, but as it stands, it just feels meaningless. Maybe in the book it works, but you have to adapt the source material to the screen in an effective way that grabs the audience's attention, especially if you are releasing it in separate episodes without a clear date or large gap between the release of the next episode. You need to leave the audience craving for more. Now, let's talk about the animation. When I first watched it, what stood out to me was the choppy movements and lack of in-between frames and a lot of shots. These were signs of poor planning and not giving the animators a lot of time to work. At other times, they try to do something fancy, but it ends up looking funky. Like, what is this? It's like you gave a camera to someone spazzing out. I don't know what they're trying to do, but if you don't know what you're doing, keep it simple. It's these kinds of problems that makes the anime feel amateurish. It's disappointing since Izune Studio has made some decent looking videos in the past. It's like they bit off more than they could chew and choked as a result. There were many difficulties they faced during production and had to be delayed several months. The thing is, as a director, Misty is able to tell the animators what shot he likes and doesn't like and how he wants a shot to be composed. It's clear he's not as experienced, and that's fine, you learn as you go. The fact that the studio claims to be a professional studio that brings fans top-tier original content and that they have done a pretty good job on previous projects, it's reasonable to expect better quality than what we were presented. Personally, I can forgive choppy animation and messy line work due to time constraints, but when you have incoherent shots that are poorly framed, the issue runs deeper than poor time allocation. In closing, the pilot episode was disappointing, and people criticizing it isn't them trying to tell Misty to give up or anything. I don't think Misty will ever see this video, but I want to let him know that I want to see Chronexia and the 8 Seals succeed and improve. I'm rooting for you, man. I can empathize on a certain level since I'm also working on a short animation, so I want to provide support for others doing the same. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it and want to see more like this, hit that like button and subscribe. I'll also be uploading speed animations and breakdowns of what I'm working on. If you disagree with any of my points, please let me know in the comments. You might be able to change my mind, or at the very least, understand your position. Thanks again, and see you next time.